very much for staying with us. Time now for the news in Africa and the world. In tonight's edition, at least 10 people in the north-central region of Burkina Faso were killed in an ambush. 5 of the victims were soldiers, and the local mayor of the town of Pensa was among those killed in an attack on Monday. The country has been battling with jihadist insurgency since 2015. This is the second assassination of a local elected official after the mayor of the municipality of Djibu. In Zimbabwe, the health minister Obadia Moyo has been sacked by President Emmerson Mnangagwa with immediate effects for inappropriate conduct. The minister was arrested last month and charged with corruption over allegedly illegally awarding a $60 million coronavirus testing kit for the country's fight against the pandemic. The deal was condemned by the opposition. Moyo also faces charges into other cases linked to the supply of medical equipment in hospitals last year. Kenya has declared that its school year was considered lost because of the coronavirus pandemic, and primary and secondary pupils will return to class next January 2021. It is a huge decision that will have an enormous effect on children and their families. The school year normally runs from January to November, but because of the COVID-19 curve, it's not expected to flatten until December. Schools closed in March will stay shut until next year. The country has reported over 8,100 infections and 164 deaths so far. The reopening of universities will take place on a case-by-case basis, and the institutions were encouraged to consider phased reopening and continue holding virtual classes and graduation ceremonies. We remain in Kenya, where officers in Nairobi fired tear gas at protesters marching against police brutality. More than 50 people were arrested as they demonstrated defying a ban on large gatherings during the coronavirus pandemic. Right groups claim at least 100 people have been killed by police in Kenya this year. Demonstrators say the aim is to denounce police use of excessive force in enforcing coronavirus curfews, which has seen at least 15 people killed in an evening curfew. The march took place to commemorate Sabasaba Day, which means the 7th day of the 7th month. Out of the African continent, we take you to France, where President Emmanuel Macron's new cabinet took office on Tuesday, with conservatives given prominent roles in efforts to rescue France's coronavirus-ravaged economy from the worst depression in decades. Bruno Le Maire, reappointed as finance minister, promised a company-focused recovery plan to revive growth, adding that he will not lose control over spending. It is the severest economic crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s, Le Maire reiterated. The COVID-19 crisis has unraveled the hard-fought gains of a liberal economic reform agenda that provoked waves of protest during Macron's first 3 years in office. According to reports, some women, 3 in number, protested in front of the Élysée Palace, one of them bearing the slogan "Rest in Peace, the Promises," as Macron prepared to convene the cabinet for the first time. Brussels says the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic is worse than the previously predicted in the Eurozone. The Euro area economy will contract by 8.7% this year, according to forecasts released by the European Commission. It is a similar story for the wider EU economy. It is now predicting an 8.3% drop in gross domestic product this year against the 7.4% fall its forecast in April. Italy has a minus of 11.2%, France a 10.6%, and Germany comes with a 6.3%, which will all drop by 2021. European leaders will later this month meet to try and trash out a deal for the EU's 750 billion euros coronavirus rescue package. The plan on the table envisages raising the money on the financial market using shared debt for the first time. Over to America, the U.S. drone strike that killed top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in January was illegal. This is the conclusion of the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Extrajudicial Executions. Agnes Callamard summary concluded it was an arbitrary killing that violated UN Charter. She wrote the U.S. had provided no evidence that an imminent attack against U.S. interests was being planned. The Trump administration justified the strike by citing self-defense, alleging that Iran was planning an imminent attack directed at killing hundreds of Americans. The independent right experts report on targeted killing through armed drones, around half of which deals with the Soleimani case, is to be presented to the UN Human Rights Council session in Geneva on Thursday, June 9, 2020. Concerning the global pandemic, the coronavirus, a German court has ended a local lockdown imposed to tackle the outbreak at a slaughterhouse, ruling that the restrictions were incommensurate. The top administrative court found that the lockdown placed an unfair burden on citizens and could be more targeted, given that the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases varied greatly across the area. The ruling came just as the lockdown in Gütersloh was due to be reassessed by local politicians. In June, more than 1,500 workers at the Tony's meat packing plant tested positive for the virus. It has drawn attention to the difficult working and living conditions of Germany's slaughterhouse employees, many of whom came from Eastern Europe and are hired through subcontractors. And we now move to Serbia, where police fired tear gas as thousands of protesters flooded into the Belgrade on Tuesday night, angry at the return of a weekend coronavirus curfew. The crowd protested in the city center over the government's handling of the crisis, with infections now increasing after Serbia eased initial lockdown measures 2 months ago. Some of the protesters managed to enter the parliament by force but were pushed by riot police. The protesters responded by shooting flares, stones, bottles and eggs at the police. Critics accused the president of racing to lift restrictions ahead of a national election on June 21, which his party won, whereas in the weeks before the poll, there were virtually no antivirus restrictions and sporting events were held with thousands of spectators. It is said that a new curfew will run from Friday to Monday, adding that a government crisis team will decide whether it applied nationwide or only to Belgrade. And as authorities scramble to prevent a second wave of coronavirus infections spreading across the country, strict lockdown measures are due to be reimposed in Australia's second largest city. Residents in metropolitan Melbourne will no longer be allowed to leave their homes starting from 11:55 p.m. on Wednesday, July 8, 2020, unless it's for grocery shopping, caregiving, or exercise work, Victoria State Prime Minister Daniel Andrew announced. The measures, which are expected to remain in place for 6 weeks, comes as the state of Victoria saw another record rise in daily coronavirus cases, with 191 new infections recorded for Tuesday. Border restrictions will also apply to Melbourne and Mitchell Shrine, the regional area of Victoria, to limit the spread of the outbreak across the state. It is worth noting that coronavirus has infected more than 2,800 people and killed 22 in Victoria. Across Australia, more than 8,700 people have been infected and 106 have died, according to Johns Hopkins University statistics. That said, thank you very much for choosing the news to be informed in Africa and the world. See you again tomorrow, 6 p.m. God willing. Do take care and stay safe.